Hello and welcome to FinTech Talk video series. I am Bassem Al-Daha, PR Director at fastercommunity. And I am joined by Mr. Mohammed Kateeb, the Group Chairman and CEO at pathsolutions, to discuss what be developments in banking industry. Mr. Kateeb, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Which emerging technologies do you see as game changers and will have the greatest impact on banking in general? What is pathsolutions doing in these areas?
It's actually in 2015, the World Economic Forum in Davos, where all the thought leaders gather. They came up with the concept of the fourth industrial revolution. And with the fourth industrial revolution, or what for short they call it 4IR, or Industry 4.0, they actually set or listed the most important technologies that are changing the world. And there was a very big list, over 15 plus or minus technologies. And from those technologies like the cloud computing, the mobility, the AI, the blockchain, the big data, the Internet of Things, augmented reality, RPA, location technologies, etc. And all these technologies will play a very important role in changing the landscape in the financial industry and creating the local, the regional, and the global ecosystem. But let me basically list 3 or 4 that I believe personally gonna be on the top of the list and we have to watch for. The first one, I would say, I would group mobility and the cloud computing together because, as you know, these two are the thrusts behind the creation of the fintechs. When you want to deliver financial services today through a fintech, on any time, anywhere, on any device, all what you really need is an app on a mobile and connecting to the cloud somewhere. You really don't need anymore the expensive infrastructure, the branches, and the big buildings and the expensive buildings. So these two technologies together provided the infrastructure for the fintechs, and they are very important. The second category of technologies, because it's really more than a single technology, is the artificial intelligence or the AI. The AI, I believe, is the most important technology or set of technologies that they will change the world, not only the banking sector, but focusing on the banking sector or the financial sector. AI will help us understand the customer behavior. And through pattern recognition, deep learning, and processing a huge amount of data and get intelligence out of it, it will allow us to understand the customer. And if you understand the customer, you can actually customize a financial service just for this customer. So it's really a huge deal. Why? Because it opens doors for the financial industry that we never thought about before. Forget about the statistics, forget about the sampling, about the segmentation, because we're not going to be talking about segmentation anymore. We're going to be talking about segmentation of one, because we understand that per individual and we can customize these services specifically for that individual. One of the most important characteristics for the fintechs is actually, and the banks, by the way, are catching up now and trying to learn from the fintechs, is how they use the data strategically. And if you can crunch the data and use it strategically in delivering the service, you have an amazing tool, competitive tool. This is what AI empower the financial services to do. The third technology that I would like to talk about is actually the open API and the architecture around the open API. This is very important because this is the main building block for the financial ecosystems. All of a sudden, with the open APIs, you can get 2 organizations on 2 different places in the world, build different technologies, and do different things. They're actually communicating with each other. and they are communicating with each other seamlessly and without any friction. And they really don't need to know how each one handles the data because of this open API. And you can hear about open banking, open API all the time. Actually, in some regions, the regulators use the open API to force the banks to open up and to allow the fintechs to use and share their data. You find the PSD2 in EU, you have the Open Banking Initiative in the UK, you have the Open Banking Initiatives also in Australia, South Africa, and others. But in a lot of regions, banks realize that this open API is a very powerful competitive tool. And if we actually use it to share our data with those fintechs, we become more competitive and we increase the size of the pie that we are addressing. So it's happening all over the world, the usage of open API. Finally, blockchain is, I believe, a game changer. And it's a technology that a lot of people call the secure internet. It is underlining, basically, it's the network that sits underneath. It's a very secure network that allows you to exchange and create currencies, informations, documentation, smart contracts, and even assets. So you can track assets and exchange assets through this network. One thing about the internet, it's lack of security. When you receive a piece of information on the internet, you always question who sent it. Is it really valid? Can I trust it? All this will disappear with blockchain. It's almost 100% secure that you know exactly who actually, you're very certain who actually sent you that piece of information, and you know who you are talking to. This is why it's being used for the digital currency, because you're talking about money and you're talking about value and asset, and having that being in this secure network. I believe the blockchain is the underneath network. It is the network that you created the Bitcoins on and other digital currencies or cryptocurrencies. I would say these are the four categories or technologies or set of technologies that I believe will have the most impact on the financial industry. But if you look at the other 15 that we talked about, I think they all will play roles in changing the landscape, but those are the most important four.
Continuing the Path Solutions journey, your company has made a significant commitment to expanding its R&D capabilities in the last couple of years with newly launched solutions in the intelligence, digital space, and regulatory compliance. Could you tell us more about your strategy and innovations in the field?
Our strategy is driven by our focus on on how you can empower, service, assist our customers. We need to ensure that our customers stay relevant and competitive. As you know, the world is changing very fast, and the banking sector is facing a lot of challenges. But they are actually influenced by two forces, very important disrupting forces. The first one is the digital competitors, regardless what kind of digital competitor it is. Are we talking about a fintech, a big tech, a digital bank? That's not important. It's actually a digital competitor that's a force that they have to deal with. But the second force, you'd be surprised to know that the second force that the banking are actually influenced by is coming from their customers. Their customers are becoming very technology savvy, and they are demanding from their financial providers the same experience when they're dealing with them and the amazing customer experience that they actually get on their mobile apps. And they want it to be this seamless, this easy to use. And between those two forces, the banks are caught up. So our customers are the bank, we try to achieve our objective in empowering these customers by couple of things. First of all, we have to continue to invest R&D in our core platform. And we continue to do that. And it's important that our core platform continue to have the most advanced technology, the best business for our customers. In addition to that, we started in the last few years two initiatives, one called Path Digital and one called Path Intelligence. To define Path Digital, this initiative focuses on empowering our customers during their digital transformation journey. We go deep in the core and allow them to have a platform that allows them to be digital end to end. We have invested for the last 10 years in this newest platform that we have, which is we call IMAP. In addition to that, we created the state-of-the-art digital platform that allow our customers to create that amazing customer experience that their customers are demanding throughout the customer journeys. And that is what we call Path Digital. In addition to that, we have Path Intelligence, and that's the second initiative. And the Path Intelligence, we focus on empowering our customers to build intelligence into their organization and transform their organization into what we call data-driven organization. What does that mean? That means that actually they have the intelligence to make very, very smart decisions based on data. We're building those intelligent technologies deep in all our modules in the platform. And actually, we started very long time ago with our business intelligence and analytics, but now we transform those tools into intelligent tools by building artificial intelligence into them with all its tools of pattern recognition, deep learning, etc., etc. So we have the intelligence, and that's why we call it Path Intelligence, building that intelligence through all our modules.
This year, you announced the first Oracle Cloud deployment at Somalia-based Amana Bank, which we can describe as revolutionary. What makes it so different?
As we said earlier, when you talk about the cloud and mobility, it's very important to compete with the fintechs and the digital banks and all that challenging the challenges that the digital challenges that the banks are having. We know that the cloud and the mobility is disruptive technologies, and we knew that the financial industry has to move there. But we realized this 10 years ago, and we start working. We were very advanced in our prediction, and when we built the newest platform, which we started 10 years ago, actually we built it to be a cloud-friendly, cloud-enabled, that you can deploy it on the cloud. What we faced with is that the regulators couldn't actually embrace this this advancement in technology, being the cloud, because of one regulation, one important regulation that most of our markets has, that says you cannot host the data outside of the country that you're operating in. And most of the clouds, as you know, the cloud vendors, they had the clouds somewhere else in the West, in the US, in Europe, whatever. And that actually was a showstopper until lately, when those main cloud vendors came to our regions and our markets, and they start putting in what we call in-country cloud. You saw Microsoft with Azure coming into UAE, coming into Saudi Arabia. You got Amazon coming into Bahrain, and Oracle is already in building it in or putting their cloud in UAE and in Saudi Arabia, etc. So having these clouds coming to our regions changed the game and made it possible for those financial institutions to use the cloud. This implementation that you're talking about is definitely a milestone for us, because finally we can actually do what we wanted to do 10 years ago. And but I believe this trend will continue, and I believe it will accelerate in the next 12 to 24 months. But the cloud is definitely the future.
You have been chosen Best Islamic Software Provider by both IBS and IFN for more than 10 years now, having tremendous years of achievement since day one. What is really driving the success at pathsolutions?
Thank you for saying that. We believe there are many reasons that we actually maintain the leadership in our segment. But let me start by going back to the first, most important thing in our success. It's our main asset. Any software company, you will find their main asset is its people, because they don't have manufacturing, they don't have machinery. It's actually the people who create and service our customers. We have a group of very smart people that we are very proud of. We have a group of technology people. Those are passionate about working with the latest technologies, best technologies available on the market. And what we do is we provide them that environment to work with the most advanced technologies. Our platform is actually built on the latest, most advanced technologies. Then you have another set of people who are business people. They're passionate about the financial industry, about the banking business, about treasury, about trade finance. And what we do is we provide an environment for those people to work with the best banks around the world, from East Asia to Europe to Africa to the Middle East. And working with this variety of banks is very exciting for them. So we retain those very smart business people. If you look at us, the way we set up our development centers, we actually have 5 different development centers in 5 different countries. And the reason we're doing that, because we want to be able to attract variety of people where they are. So we have a huge development center in Beirut, in Egypt, in India, in Pakistan, in Kuwait, and we are able to attract the developers anywhere we get. We also have business offices in 9 countries.
Amazing.
And we're operating in 39 countries or 40 countries. So in addition to that, what makes pathsolutions very successful is we are very focused. Since the beginning of our existence, we focused on Islamic finance. And this focus allows us to continue to learn from our customers, to be more understanding of the Islamic finance segment, and actually service our customer much better. With every requirement we get from our customer and we implement it, we become a little bit more smarter about Islamic finance. And Islamic finance is actually much more advanced and complicated than conventional banking. Conventional banking is interest-based versus the Islamic banking has a lot more products and very complex calculation of profits, etc., etc. Finally, I think what makes us also very successful as a company is we are customer-driven. From our inception, we have been focusing on our customers and building our system based on our customers' requirements and anticipating what our customer needs are. So everything we do is centered around empowering our customers. With every customer requirement we implement, as I said, we become more knowledgeable. And having the largest customer base in Islamic finance, we actually have more than all our competitors combined in the number of Islamic banks as customers. That means we make us more experienced than any of our competitors, and that actually contributes to our success.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kateeb, for insights.
Thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure.